All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Graduate Building Science Program virtual info session. My name is Kyle Konis, and I'm the director of the Chase Leavitt Graduate Building Science Program. I'm joined tonight by Justin Stedell, our director of graduate admissions here at USC School of Architecture. And we do have folks still joining, but because it is 6 p.m., here on the West Coast. We're going to kick things off, and additional participants will likely join in the next few minutes. But I would like to start off by welcoming you. And this is an image of an event we held at our school last semester. You can get a sense for what it would feel like, even though we're virtual here, to be a part of the Trojan family here at USC. And my name again is Kyle Konis, and you can see my profile. I've got the link here if you want to read a little more about my background or bio. I'm an associate professor in the School of Architecture, and my emphasis is building science and sustainability and topics related to building performance that I will get into as we proceed. I'm also available to answer questions about the program and the courses that are both required and elective courses that you'd be engaging in with our Master of Building Science program and related certificates. Justin is joining us to guide and assist you along the way through the admissions process. So please do take note. I have my email address at the end of the presentation. Justin's is here, and for all questions related to the admissions process, feel free to reach out to Justin. He'll connect with you and provide any clarifications or guidance or support along the way. We've tried to make the process as streamlined as possible, but there are always times where questions come up, and we're happy to answer those questions for you. I'm going to start off with a program overview. Then we'll go through the goals of the program. We'll talk about postgraduate careers. We are, after all, a professional school. So we are a niche program within the School of Architecture. We tend to have a cohort size of 12 each year. We're a 2-year program, so our total cohort is about 24 students. And we then provide a kind of specialized training in building science that positions you well in the professional world to do specialized roles in consulting and in architectural practice and a whole range of other innovative career paths that I'll show some examples of from our recent graduates. I'll talk a little bit about certificate programs that may be of interest to you while you're pursuing a MBS degree. And then I'll hand off to Justin, who can provide a little more detail on some admissions info. Now, what you're seeing here in the picture is one of our recent cohort groups in our building science corner on the 3rd floor of Watt Hall, which is the School of Architecture's 3rd floor studio space. We, as a program, are one of 4 master's programs in the School of Architecture. Obviously, we have the MArch program, and we also have landscape architecture and urbanism. We have heritage conservation, and we round out the number 4 with building science. One important point to mention is the building science degree is a STEM program in building sciences and technology. So if particular interest for international students, these programs, ours, as well as other programs that are STEM designated within the School of Architecture, may be eligible for a 24-month extension of post-completion OPT, which is optional professional training, for a total eligibility of up to 36 months. So this is an extension that can be approved to allow you to pursue professional training post-graduation here in the United States for up to 3 years. So that's a very important designation to point out for our program. And now to give you some information on the goal of the building science program. We are, as a university, deeply committed to sustainability and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. But specifically within that, our program is focused on building decarbonization. And we are one of a number of schools now in the United States that is designated as a zero energy design program in the United States by the US Department of Energy. So that is a designation for programs that are providing the training and the learning and the sort of project experience that is critical for transitioning our building stock from energy intensive and carbon intensive buildings, both through operations and through their materials and embodied carbon, to buildings that have a net zero operational carbon footprint, and as we move forward, net zero embodied carbon as a goal. So this is a very important objective that our program seeks to deliver when we graduate our master's students. Here's a synopsis of core areas of expertise within our program. Many of these are specialty areas that are of interest to our faculty, and I'll show some slides that focus on our faculty as we proceed here. We have expertise in passive building design, design computation, and performance analysis. One of the benefits of pursuing your studies in the state of California is that the state of California is leading the United States in the implementation of high performance requirements in energy standards, which are part of the code compliance process in the state. Building performance modeling now is becoming really central, not only to getting green building certifications, but also just simply to practice architecture, to meet the requirements necessary to build buildings here in California. So we are training the future workforce for this important role, which is in building performance analysis. We have a specialty focus and certificate program on building facades. That's an area that's becoming more technical, and so calling for more technical training and specialization on all of the artistry and engineering and investigation and design research that involves the development of high performance building facades. We also have a focus on health and human factors research, looking at human health and well-being in existing buildings, particularly doing post-occupancy evaluation, as well as controlled studies looking at human factors. We have faculty who specialize in lighting design and design research around electrical lighting systems. We also have a focus on day lighting. It's one of my areas of interest. We have a specialization in high performance structures and materials research, and in particular, promising alternatives to conventional structural materials like steel and concrete. We have faculty who are researching and standardizing bio-based structural materials, which have great benefits for decarbonizing our materials and embodied carbon of buildings. Now, we also, in terms of program offerings, have a dual degree with our Master of Heritage Conservation, and we have one or two students each year in the program who are doing or pursuing the dual degree. This is a joint program with our Master of Heritage Conservation program that you should look into if you have any interest in the topic of heritage conservation and the historical significance of existing buildings and preserving those buildings. So this is of potential interest to many students. Now, the certificate in facade arts and sciences, that's one of our many certificate offerings. We also have certificates in landscape architecture, heritage conservation, which I just mentioned. Building science, obviously, you're getting a degree in. That's a certificate that would be of interest to our Master of Architecture students. You can pursue a certificate in architecture if you're interested in majoring in building science, but doing the certificate in architecture for additional design emphasis, and the certificate in sustainable design. These you can read more about on our graduate programs website, which can be reached from our School of Architecture homepage. And I provided the link below here. Now, some examples of recent student success. This is a competition-winning entry by a group of students from the Master of Building Science program that recently graduated, who were decided to enter this design competition with work that they had produced in one of our research seminar courses, Architecture 615. And they were challenged with designing a teaching and innovation farm lab connected to the history of California's first Black town, Allensworth, California, to re-envision this town as a destination for sustainable agriculture. And I'm pleased to say that these students won the top prize for the graduate program category for their design, the Parasol Agricultural Center. This competition-winning entry, I think, highlights some of the contributions and the value that building science adds to a professional profile. And in particular, that is the ability to not only create compelling design solutions, but to also back up those designs with evidence that shows that the building will perform well with regard to sustainability performance goals. So in this case, the students created a overall carbon footprint for the building, and then worked through various energy conservation measures and sustainability strategies to manage the carbon footprint of the building, as well as looking at the entire life cycle of the project. So this was a very important element that helped them with their submission. So many of our graduates go on to work in architecture and design firms in specialty roles, typically focused on sustainability and building performance. But others move into consulting jobs, working for engineering consulting companies. A number of our students, because of our training and emphasis on computation, work in the realm of building performance modeling and simulation. BIM, building information modeling and software workflows, are very common career paths that our students take. Occasionally, students will work in structural engineering firms or with a role in more of a design role in a structural engineering consulting firm. We have students that have formed their own companies, and I'll show that in a subsequent slide, who are very entrepreneurial and develop their own technologies. Students from our program often go on to pursue PhDs, and many more examples that I can show. Here's an example. This is Brittany Moffett, who now works at Arup, and her work is focusing on analyzing risks and drivers of change in the built environment. And in particular, she's working on decarbonization of housing and has developed an emerging role of a resilience engineer. So engineering strategies to make buildings and urban systems more resilient to the impacts of climate change. So this is really a great example of how our thesis component of our program helps to provide graduates with the training that's necessary to do the kind of challenging conceptual work that is being asked in the professional world. This is the example of our entrepreneur. Casey was actually on campus today. I was trying to sneak a slide in before I presented tonight of his mobile lab, but you'll see some diagrams of it. He's actually testing this on the USC campus as we speak. Casey is now the Director of Sustainability at GGA Plus Architects, but he has also founded his own company called Mac Research, which is now developing a novel technology that's based on some of the work that he did from his master's thesis here in the building science program. This is a wind energy harvesting facade element. Looks a lot like a leaf, and in fact, it's based on mimicking the natural oscillation of leaves to capture energy and provide that energy for building applications. These are some examples here of his initial prototypes and applications to a building facade, and then his current project, which is the Mobile Testing Center pilot. And this is supported by both a $250,000 grant from the US Department of Energy to develop digital twin physics-based models of these leaf modules, as well as an additional $50,000 grant from the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator to build this mobile testing facility to physically test prototypes under real wind conditions. So we were able to take our students today and do a tour of his on-site installation of this mobile test lab. We try to position our graduates not in entry-level career positions when they graduate, but in leadership roles in specialty areas within firms. So this is an example here of a recent alum giving us a tour. One of the benefits of being here in Los Angeles is that we have downtown LA is a short transit ride from the USC campus and is the center now for many of the engineering and architecture and construction firms that are based in Los Angeles. And so we're able to do many office tours and visits, and often the individual who's giving us a tour of their firm is a recent graduate, as in the case here. And we're learning about their role and how they've applied some of the knowledge that they've gained in the building science program to their role in the professional world. We also have a very strong guild organization of alumni and firms that have alumni either running those firms or working in leadership positions at those firms. And that provides a great opportunity for our students to go out into the professional world and speak directly with the people who are actually doing the work in the built environment here in Southern California. So these are some notable projects by Matt Construction. Steve Matt was willing graciously to host us at his downtown office, where one of our recent MBS alums, who's now a project manager, gave us an overview of all of their current work and some of the key building science questions related to the construction and operation of these innovative projects. In addition to conventional classroom learning, our students do a lot of active experiential learning. We have a campus that is evolving into a kind of living lab where we have, due to the size of the University of Southern California, we have a city within a city. And we're able to learn from just studying and thinking about our own campus operations and how that can be of a benefit for education and learning opportunities for our students. So this is some students spending time with the cooling towers on the roof of the central cooling plant here on the University Park campus. Okay, I mentioned that I would show a slide and talk a little bit about our faculty. We have a great collection of full-time and adjunct faculty. Our full-time faculty are here dedicated to teaching and research on campus. And our part-time adjunct faculty are practicing architects and engineers who come in and teach one specialized course per semester or per year, focusing on their individual area of expertise. So there are great opportunities here to work both with really exemplary scholars, as well as with very innovative professional practitioners within our program. Each student, as part of our program, we're a 2-year, 48-unit master's program. So we have a number of core courses that are required. They're usually taken in the first semester or first year of the program. leaving the second year largely open for electives and for the thesis. The thesis is a 1-year project undertaken by the student and largely developed by the student during the first year through the preparation of a thesis proposal and thesis prospectus and background literature review. That thesis project is then supported by a committee of faculty from the School of Architecture or other units on campus. I should note that USC is a renowned R1 research university. So in addition to the faculty within our school, there are opportunities to not only take courses in other programs on campus, but to work with faculty through your thesis who may be affiliated with a different school or a different program. So that's a great opportunity there for multidisciplinary learning. There are examples of thesis work on our Expo website. USC Architecture has a virtual Expo, and you can see our MBS thesis posters and read more about the student work there from this link. Okay, now I am on to the application process here. So I've provided a link to our School of Architecture website where you can go and begin the application. But I'm going to hand this over now to Justin, and he will be able to give you a little bit more detail and answer questions that you may have about the application process.
All right, thank you, Kyle. So I'm going to share my screen now. Give me 1 second. All right, can you see this? Yeah. So my name is Justin Stottle. I am the graduate admissions counselor for the School of Architecture. And I want to start off by saying that a lot of you are applying to the Master of Building Science degree, maybe from different countries, maybe from different areas of the United States. A lot of times the application process is complicated. And so when you start your application, I will reach out to you and introduce myself again. And I'm a good resource for you if you get caught up in any part of the application process, especially for international applicants who may have special requirements depending on where they're applying from. So, as Kyle mentioned, there are a number of degrees here at USC. One thing to pay attention to is if you apply for a dual degree, like the Master of Building Science and Master of Heritage Conservation, you will only need to pay for the one of the applications. You can actually apply for a fee waiver so that you're not paying for both applications. After I'm done talking here, I'll drop a lot of links in the chat so that one of them will be the fee waiver website where you can look for other fee waivers that you may be eligible for. But I'll put in a number of fee waivers or a number of links in the chat, including the fee waiver link. For graduate certificates, if you want to say, apply for the Master of Building Science, but then also take, say, a graduate certificate program, you do not need to apply for a graduate certificate. You can actually, once you're enrolled, come to our academic advisors and include a certificate program in your program by talking with them and figuring out the extra classes you need to take. The only time you need to apply for a graduate certificate through the application process is if that's all you're looking for. If you're not looking for a graduate degree, you just would like a certificate. All right, so for the MBS program, there are a number of application requirements. I'm going to go over them in the next page. But for the most part, the things you need to think about are your resume, your statement of purpose or statement of intent, If you're international, it would be your TOEFL or IELTS scores, three letters of recommendation, and then some optional portfolio examples for the MBS program. So like work examples or other material that might support your application. For your official transcripts, there's a number of ways of submitting your official transcripts. The easiest way of doing this is to upload your transcripts onto the USC CAS application. So that would be translating it into a PDF or scanning it from, say, a physical copy that you may have or a digital copy that you may have. The one thing to keep in mind is it has to be official. So it can't be, say, a student portal screenshot or an unofficial copy of it. It has to be official. The other way of doing it is to actually contact your registrars and ask for them to submit your transcripts to USC. And again, I'll put the information for that in the chat after I'm done here. But they can submit it either by email through, say, a third party vendor like Parchment or National Clearinghouse that has an encrypted kind of way of sending transcripts, or you can do it by paper mail. That's obviously the takes the longest and is maybe the least reliable in this day and age, but you can definitely do that. You can request your transcripts sent by mail. For international applicants, you may have additional requirements depending on what country you're applying from, and then maybe what the background language of the institution your undergraduate degree is in. So there is a link here on the website or on the page here, but I will put it also in the chat. And it's essentially a website where you can look at what country you're applying from, and it will show you maybe additional documents you may need to send in addition to, say, your transcripts. Letters of recommendation. So we require three letters of recommendation and up to five max. And these letters of recommendation can come from a professional. If you say have been out of school for a while and you have a lot of professional contacts, they can be professional contacts. And if you're just out of school or you still have connections to your academic contacts, that's also a great way of sending in letters of recommendation. Keep in mind that when you're applying, you'll want to be hitting some sort of deadline, either priority deadline or one of the other deadlines. Keep in mind that we don't consider your application submitted unless we have both your application and your letters of recommendation. So make sure your recommenders are aware of the deadline that you're aiming for and submit their recommendations in a timely manner. Merit scholarship. So the School of Architecture offers scholarship based on merit, which is based on your entire portfolio or your entire application, I should say. So that means your transcripts, your letters of recommendation, your supporting documentation. It's it's how the School of Architecture helps students with aid. There are other ways of attaining aid. If you're an enrolled student, there's what's called Scholarship Universe, which is essentially a scholarship matching platform. So you put in your information and qualifications, and Scholarship Universe connects you to available scholarships you can apply for either through the larger USC arena of scholarships available to you or outside of USC, scholarships outside of the university. So that's a great resource to utilize. And I'll again put that in the chat. You won't be able to access it fully because you have not been admitted yet, and you will need a student ID code to log in, but you can get an idea or an overview of what that can do for you. We do also have class assistantships. So that's available to students. And there are other means of affording your education or helping with your education costs. All right, deadlines. So one thing to keep in mind, especially if you're listening to this live, is that our priority deadline is January 3rd. So again, that involves both admission decisions and then also scholarships. So students who apply by the January 3rd deadline have that priority. We continue to look at applications beyond that priority deadline. So if you see the application still open and you're, say, watching this video a little bit later on, feel free to apply. We'll let you know if the application is closed. But feel free to apply. For international applicants, the deadline is May 1st, and for domestic applicants, it's July 1st. Again, with the international applicants, you know, you may know that the first step is admission, and then the next step is visa, getting your visa, and going through that onboarding process to the United States. So it's just to give enough time for all of that process to go through. If you have any questions about this, please reach out to me. Again, I'll put my information again in the chat. I think I just put in right before this, right before I started presenting, but feel free to reach out to me if you have any follow-up questions. Here again are all of those, a number of contact links. Again, I'll put it in the chat so it's easier for you to access, copy, paste. Thank you.
Okay. That concludes our presentation. Wow, it's gotten so much darker here in my living room since we started. So we are at 6:33. We do have a few minutes if there are any questions about the program that anyone would like to voice. We can field those.
And I just put all those links in the chat just now. So if you want to copy paste those or click on them, feel free to do that.
And let me also say, if this session, if you don't feel comfortable asking your questions in the Zoom here, that both Justin and I are reachable via email, so you can email us your questions and then we can follow up individually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, with that, then I would like to say, again, welcome to the Trojan family. I hope you get your application in before the deadline. And I look forward. Oh, I do see a hand up. Yeah. Go
Hi,
ahead, Jennifer.
thank you so much for the information session. I was wondering, um, especially for international students, you mentioned this program is very helpful in finding a career in the United States, but I was sort of wondering um, how, what's the percentage like for international students specifically?
So in our program, we have the cohort varies from year to year.
Mhm.
But I would say, this year we have, I would say, roughly 60% international students, 40% domestic students.
Mhm. And what, more or less, how long does it take your graduates to find a job in the field?
It varies, but I think that our students, if they want a job, then the OPT is a good opportunity for them because it gives them direct opportunities to work for up to 3 years without the need for sponsorship. So if you look at the examples that we showed, those are all recent graduates who are working
Mhm.
here. Not all students stay in the United States. Some students go to their home country and work in their home countries.
Right.
It also depends on, some students pursue a PhD, so they're going into studies. I think it's a rare case where a student is not positioned in their field of professional training after they graduate.
And in contrast to, say, an M.Arch and the professional path to become an architect, would we be able to work immediately with this degree as opposed to the M.Arch, which requires the licensing and the tests and all that?
So with the MArch degree, MArch students also get jobs. They become
Mhm.
graduate level architects within firms, and they are not licensed, but generally when you work in a firm, so long as the person in the firm who's responsible for, reviewing the drawings is licensed, then the work is just simply done by whoever is skilled to do the work. But it is
Mhm.
it is advisable for students who have studied architecture to pursue the license, because generally there's a little pay increase once you have the license.
Right.
And so for building science, I will just say, candidly, that the skill that's in demand now is building performance modeling. So the ability to take a project in various stages of design and calculate the energy consumption, or to understand the impacts of various design decisions on energy or
Mhm.
indoor environment. Those are the areas that are in demand, and those are not areas there are some certifications that are emerging for performance modeling, but in general, that's an area where that particular skill is in demand. So for that, you could just start on day one,
That's good to know.
with that. And I would also highlight that our thesis year is 2 semesters of a deep dive into really any kind of subject matter that the student can convince 3 of our faculty to support. And generally, students choose strategically a topic and a methodology that they think would be valuable in the professional world. So that um, you know, firms have no trouble finding people that can do kind of basic sort of computer-based skills, but
Right.
finding an employee who can actually think the way someone who can apply engineering research methods in a systematic way and create their own, research questions and follow through with an experimental design in a rigorous way. That's really a skill that's less accessible to them, and what makes our graduates more appealing. So it's not just simply the ability to apply a particular tool, but it's also
Mhm.
the ability to understand the limitations of that tool, and when to ask questions, how to do research, how to support a client that doesn't even know what the right question is to be asking. That's
Okay.
that's an area of consulting work that really requires a different kind of skill set and different abilities than what I would say is sort of the training and teaching of traditional technical competencies, which now are being done by computers. AI is going to be probably more than capable of handling those more
Mhm.
predictable types of tasks.
Right. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
I
Mhm.
also wanted to jump in and just mention that one of the nice things about USC is that you know we're in the heart of Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is a global capital. So if you think about the United States, there's essentially two. There's a West Coast global capital, which is Los Angeles, and then the East Coast might be New York. And
Mhm.
so being able to study, especially graduate school in a global capital, graduate school is where you form your connections and your alumni network. And
Mhm.
when your colleagues are going off and working outside of the United States globally, we have a strong international community. It really helps you out as well. Whether you're in if you're in the building science, we have alumni from, say, the Price Policy School of Policy. We have Viterbi School of Engineering. We have Marshall School of Business. So you have a lot of different alumni networks to connect with.
Right. Thank you.
Great question, by the way. And I think that those are questions that we can also help to further clarify if we continue the dialogue via by email.
We have another question
Oh, but
via
let me
chat.
also just say, go to our
Mhm.
website. We've actually profiled some of our recent graduates just to give you a sprinkling of the kinds of career paths that they've gone on to. So that can help.
Sure,
Mhm.
thank you. I'll take a look.
Xavier has a question in the chat. He says, for students who are currently in the undergraduate building science program and wish to apply for the master program, should they apply in senior year or earlier?
All right. Well, hi, Xavier. Um, as soon as possible, because you'll be pursuing the progressive degree, I would assume. So you should talk with your student advisor. And I know the progressive degree application process is not, it's not obvious. You have to generally you have to discover those documents. And so if you email me directly, then I can get you in touch with your student advisor, and we can put together an application to the progressive degree. And that's a great thing just for everyone on this or watching this, that you in our graduate program, you're also interacting with students who are progressing into the USC graduate program from a USC undergrad degree. So they kind of have knowledge of the school and the campus and some of the, good kind of institutional knowledge that they can help share. And they're always, very good for helping to orient students who are new to campus. All right. Um,
Or
yeah,
I,
and then just going back to one more comment, I did mention the Guild, our architecture guild. We're one of the oldest schools in Los Angeles, if not the oldest. So there's a real long multi-generational history of architects and uh, contractors and engineers who are all connected in various ways to the School of Architecture. And we formalized that in a guild, which is a very unique entity. Very few schools have a guild. I would assert no school has a guild as really strong and committed to the success of School of Architecture as our guild. And they do mentoring. They do career mentoring for any and all students that ask for a mentor. A lot of students kind of pass on that, which I think is a shame, because the guild is really like they're there to support, and they will take a student and connect them with a practitioner who will mentor that student and help to support that student's interests. And I think students come into our program with a fairly narrow view of what they think their career is going to look like. And again, I will encourage you to go look at our recent graduates who are, one invented essentially their own um, project role, which is resilience engineer. Another is doing heat risk mitigation. Another has developed their own clean tech company. A lot of times, it's you may be surprised at what you end up pursuing after 2 years here in LA, and with all of the courses that you'll take and people that you'll meet, and potentially professional societies you might start to affiliate with. Those are all going to open doors and open kind of opportunities that you might not be aware of now. So you don't really want to really lock in too much to, one particular prospect. All right.
all right.
Yeah, well, I should have turned the background light on before I started. That's a lesson from Zoom I should have learned long ago. But very pleased to virtually meet and have a chance to speak with everyone here. And I
Oh,
look,
we have one more question that just popped up.
all right, everyone
And
saves their question to right as I'm making my closing statement here. Okay, for the progressory program, is there an undergraduate GPA minimum to apply? I do believe there is. I think it's 3.0, but check. And again, email me directly, and I will, I'll help review the requirements with you and your student advisor. I do think there is, but I think it's a 3. Don't
all
quote me
right.
on that. Check. We should verify it. All right. Okay. Well, having covered all the questions and knowing that there's no more questions coming my way, I'm going to
No
say
more.
one last time, very, very good to talk with all of you virtually, and hopefully we can get you onto our campus here in surprisingly not too long from now in fall of 2025.
Yeah, and that's a good point to leave it off. If you'd like, if you're in the area at any time and would like to schedule a tour, I'm happy to do that for you. Again, I'll be reaching out to you if you start your application, and you can schedule a tour with me from there, or reach out to me directly. So thank you all. I appreciate you for coming to this information session.
Okay. Take care, everyone. Fight on.
Take care.
Justin,
Bye.
can you do a fight on?
Fight on.
There we go. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.